That can't be a great sign. Here, I'm just waiting to make sure I'm live on YouTube and Twitch. I think I should be. Yeah, we are definitely live on Twitch. Okay, live on Twitch. YouTube, don't be stubborn. Yeah, there we go. We're getting there. Keep tapping the screen, share the live. Appreciate you all so much for being here. Just, okay, there we go. Hey, Leah. Give me 1 second and then we'll get this not so great party started.
You know that paper is more sophisticated now than computers.
Okay, we are live. Oh, I thought I muted it. I'm like, just everyone's listening to me typing weird things. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the People's Receipts. It is unfortunately Monday and we're all still here. So, what else can we do? Talk about the absolute ridiculous shit going on in this country. I feel like, yeah, let me just pull up my outline on my other computer and also Discord really quick. Here we are. Okay, that was open the whole time. And by the way, if you would like to subscribe, we are like 102 subscribers away from 500. So if you would like to subscribe, that is the left or the yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner. If you're on, I believe, a phone or an iPad. I know the chat box is a little smaller. I got a new webcam and I'm just trying it out. So I know the box is a little bigger, but TikTok Studio is acting so weird. So I don't have time I'll figure it out. I'll adjust it and hopefully everyone will be able to see. Or maybe I can't actually right now. I can make it a little. I love to give you guys room to chat. I cannot stand when I'm in a live and I can't see what the chat is saying because it's like like a white background or something. It is like my personal pet peeve. Okay. Give me one. Thank you, Dolphin, for the cake. You're awesome. Great to see you. Let me get this presentation of hello. I cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait to talk about the stuff we have to talk about. We're going to do so much laughing so we don't cry today. It's going to be insane. I can't wait. Let's tap the screen. Let's get to 50K as fast as possible. If you would like to help me, yeehaw. Thank you for the hat. Oh yeah. I don't even think I said a live. Thank you for reminding me really quick. I didn't pin the live goal. There, got it. Now I did it. Okay. We're live on Twitch, live on YouTube. Super chat goal is up. Gift goal is up. Thank you so much for the giveaway sub. Lush and I Hate It, my favorite name. I wish I had thought of that name. That's a great name on TikTok. Thank you so much for the giveaway sub. This is the sub goal. We're at $3.99. I'm trying to get back to 500. My perpetual goal to stay somewhere between 500 and 600 subscriptions a month continues. I had to get a new iPad. Hopefully this is going to be, I have a different iPad casting because my other one stopped charging. So hopefully this is going to work just the same. Okay. I know I don't often talk about things that happen in the White House, and I'm just like, hey, they're putting on a reality shit show every single day of random lies. But Friday, I was talking about this morning when I was live with Vax. By the way, if you didn't catch our live this morning, it was pretty intense and pretty good. There were some debates. There was a lot of angry people in the chat yelling incoherent things that aren't backed up by data or math, all sorts of things. So again, that's replays available on YouTube. If you're not following me right now, we're live on Twitch, YouTube, X, and you can subscribe on YouTube, follow or join the Discord as well. If you're not sure when I go live, because unlike some creators, like I'm not always like punctual on the dot of when I start my lives. If you join the Discord or you subscribe, which is just a follow on YouTube for free, then when I go live, it will alert you, which I love the alerts on YouTube. They're great. So that's whoever I like on TikTok, I usually then follow on YouTube. So then live in real time, like notifications pop up when people go live. It's super great. Okay. let's get this party started because I hate talking about Space Karen, but I do think when he behaves this ridiculously, it is worth mentioning. Okay, so Friday, I wasn't live because I had to take care of my cat and do some errands, take my dad to the doctor again. So I didn't do a live, and I could not believe what was going on in the White House while I was running all these errands. So, and I sent, I think on Saturday morning, if you're in the Discord, I sent a New York Times gift article of what they basically did an expose. They have all these people talking about Elon Musk. I mean, this is not a surprise to any of us who have brains, but his illicit substance use and his struggle with it on the campaign trail and how wildly out of control it was, which I used to work in the tech industry. This is not news to anyone that has ever had proximity to this man. But I do think some people are surprised by it. So I sent out that article, and I think that is essentially why. I mean, other than his weird farewell, it was like, I think it's Susie Wiles finally. I mean, and I don't think it's her fault or her wish of why Elmo's Space Karen's being ejected. I think Space Karen's own behavior has finally got him ejected, but I think he was very furious about the New York Times article and wanted to stand next to Trump creepily and just try to act like he's never done anything wrong and like his shit doesn't stink, which as it usually does, went horribly for both of them. And it was like a slow motion train wreck. So I just want to show you a couple of clips of Space Karen denying, what people, and this is my advice. If any publication, especially a for-profit one like the New York Times, made up a bunch of lies about you, sue them. But I bet you won't, Elmo, because I bet those sources are legit, and I bet you're not going to sue them. So you're instead standing in the White House crying as if that stuff's not true. But yeah, if that stuff truly wasn't true and it was made up out of the thin blue air, then you'd sue him. That's what a normal person would do. That's slander. That's libel. But my guess is that's not what you're going to do, because it is true.
The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room are the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate?
He got a Pulitzer Prize for correctly reporting on Russiagate. And that also is why Trump never sued them for that, because it was factual reporting and they won a Pulitzer for it. Same thing with Trump, right? Elon Musk is trying to do the fake news line of logic. Same thing applies. Elon, if they're lying about you, if you're saying that someone just published a 15-minute, I mean, it's 15 minutes when you listen to the article, just a load of slanderous information about you, sue them. My guess is the New York Times is an authoritative source that never publishes things without being able to back it up. So same thing with the Pulitzer Prize they won about connections between the Trump campaign and Russia. But I digress.
Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer count.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Okay. Then, next question. Trump. I got one for President Trump. So President.
Is that I don't even, that didn't happen. I mean, there have been they're trying to overturn some of First Amendment law that protects journalism, having nothing to do with what Elmo's Space Karen is screaming about. Super weird. But I think he was just like, hey, like MAGA pretends that Trump's scandals are lies. If I point that out, maybe they'll accept my scandals as lies. I don't think so, Space Karen. Nobody likes you. Opinion has turned against you. And again, if anyone wants to look up this article, I sent it as a gift article in the Discord, I think Saturday morning, but this is the article that Elmo's super upset about. I don't think anything in there will surprise anyone that read it. Like, to me, it was just like, yeah, this is all the things we've all been discussing in real time, and the New York Times got people to sources to essentially be on record about it, which I think that's because it was time for Elmo to go. Here, let me just Elon Musk became one of Trump's closest allies last year, right? He spent $275 million to help him get elected. He was also using illicit substances far more intensely than previously known. Well, previously known, if you're blind, I think I knew, Mr. Musk's illicit substance consumption went beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much K, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, which if you understand anything about K, yeah, that's one of the, it's a shitty thing to be addicted to for that reason. It's a known effect of chronic use. He took shrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills. Oh, that's all? I'm shocked. Including ones with the markings of the stimulant, A on it, according to a photo of the box and people who have seen it. Well, if it's not true and no one's testified, no one's saying this, then just sue him, Elon. What's the answer to all your problems? Is just sue him. It is unclear whether Musk was taking these illicit substances when he became a fixture at the White House this year and was handed the power to slash the federal bureaucracy, but he has exhibited erratic behavior, insulting cabinet members, gesturing like a mustache man, and garbling his answers in a staged interview. It's a great read or a great listen, but I'm not going to read through this whole article. It's pretty long. I just find it hilarious. Let me skip around because I found this clip after. Well, actually, let me see. Okay, wait. I'm going to stay on track and then I'll find the article I found the clip I found at the end in a second. So this is Kevin. I'm an economist. I've actually done nothing but lie about the economy to the American people. I just tell delusional lies for Donald Trump every day. Has it? Being asked about Space Karen and these allegations.
Did you ever witness Elon Musk under the influence of drugs?
Not even close, no.
Never?
No.
Not once?
Not even once, no, not in a million years. And I could just say that he is a person who's so filled with joy that it's just a natural way that he is. And he's just been absolutely a blast to work with. And of course, there's no sign whatsoever, anything like that.
Did any of the...
It's been a blast to work with. That's not what other people are reporting who've always gotten fights with him. Now, this is Friday I'm trying to think of what. Yeah, I'm going to show this first and then I'll show the clip I have to show you at the end. Okay. This is during the absolute meltdown in the White House Friday where Elon was just creepily standing over Trump. Well, Trump was trying to honestly say goodbye to him, but Elon won't leave. It was super weird.
So they're not leaving. And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling. It's his baby, and I think he's going to be doing a lot of things. But Elon's service to America has been without comparison in modern history. He's already...
Agree with that. Without comparison in modern history, yes, we can confirm that because it was so shitty and so pointless, other than stealing a bunch of all of our data, allegedly, in my opinion. Yeah, it has been unparalleled. Yeah, we'll never see anything like it. I do agree with that, but I think Trump's right. I think no matter what, he's like, yeah, we're trying to shove him out, but he just keeps creeping back in. So then, I don't know if anyone's heard about this, and there's different ideas about where it came from, but Elmo, showed up on Friday. Space Karen had a black eye.
And we're doing really well. We came, when I left, we had no wars, we had no problems, we defeated ISIS, we rebuilt our military.
Sorry, I'm always going to highlight what Trump keeps saying, no new wars, but that is the most delusional thing. Oh, this is Elon's goodbye speech where he vows to never leave us nor stop ruining all of our lives.
Let me say perhaps a few words that this is not the end of Doge, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that, it comes with a time limit. But the Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will only grow stronger. I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life.
Buddhism stealing Americans' data, which by the way, I just got 3 violations. It's like I don't know what to do. If I'm not allowed to report on the news, what am I really supposed to do? So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. It's like I don't know how much trouble I'm in. I can never tell with these random violations. Just pop up at the beginning of every live I do. But I did just get 3, so let's do aggressively tap the screen. I don't know, but I assume it's because of the content we're discussing. But I think it's important. If the man that's allegedly rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, who was never qualified to do that, is out of his mind on illicit substances and can barely function in private, in public, and factually authoritative sources like the New York Times are reporting on this. And this is the person who's got a hold of all of our data, and we're not supposed to be able to talk about it. I don't know. I feel like this is important and I need to really get it out. He says Doge is like Buddhism. Doge is like a chaotic train wreck coming in every direction, where toddlers are crashing into each other and have no idea what's going on. Oh yeah, and they're all on, illicit substances. What is he talking about? And again, this is just doge.muskwatch.com. I just took this screenshot before I started the live. Again, this verified canceled funding, 69.3 billion. Or Doge itemized cuts. Verified cancel funding is still at 16.3. It's been like this for months. And Doge has an unverifiable savings, right? Is if you look at the bottom there, 148.7 billion. Right. It's the Doge itemized cuts and the verified canceled funding. Like, that's what they're claiming. It's not real, right? And depending on what think tank and who's doing the math, I've seen people say it's like 32 billion, but the verified cancel funding is 16.3. So he's saying he saved money and he's a miracle worker. I was citing this article and I'll continue citing it. They don't say they saved 160 billion. Thank you for the cat. I appreciate it. They don't say they've saved 160 billion anymore. But when they were claiming that, those cuts have cost taxpayers 135 billion. So imagine if the real verified canceled funding is 16.3 billion, or let's be generous. And I was reading a study that said it was 32 billion. And he's already cost 135 billion. There is no world in which he hasn't wasted all our time and money. I mean, unless you're a billionaire and you're going to benefit from all the stolen data, then maybe that's a different story. But none of us are benefiting from whatever that weirdo has been wandering around doing. I'm not going to read all that. Oh, yeah. So here's where we get to the part about the black eye, which maybe I'll restart the live after this because I don't know. I don't know. I keep getting restrictions, but then I don't know if I'm getting punishments. I have no idea how it works anymore. I just get in trouble all the time, and then sometimes it sticks and sometimes not.
I wanted to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, what is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so.
What does that mean?
I didn't notice it.
First lady of France.
I didn't notice.
I was just horsing around with little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. It turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X,
I saw his mom right now. But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I was just horsing around with the kid.
I didn't notice it actually.
Maybe he didn't feel much of the time because he's feeling no pain. I believe that. Now, there are 2 theories I'd like to present about what happened to Space Karen's eye. The first is he stole Stephen Miller's wife. I don't know if anyone's heard about this, but Space Karen is leaving, and he does normally leave with someone's wife. He did the same thing to Sergey Brin, the CEO of Google. Well, now Stephen Miller plays happy family after wife left with Musk. Stephen Miller's wife was working for Doe's and now she's leaving the White House to be a full-time, like, Elon Musk, like, I don't know what, personal assistant or whatever. Rumor has it, especially on the Capitol Hill blogs, that Stephen Miller no likey this. I'm not saying I don't think Stephen Miller has the technique nor the velocity to hurt anybody or give anyone a black eye. He looks like if he moves too fast, he will fall over. So I don't necessarily think this is what happened. Now, let me just theory 2 of who may have done that to Elmo's eye. Hold on, I've got to, because this is at the end. I just found this clip, which is perfect. Theory 2 of who possibly did this to Space Karen. Which, God, it's so many. Who doesn't want to do that to Space Karen? Hypothetically, not me. I'm just saying.
Musk was just spotted with a black eye inside the Oval Office after reports that he got into a physical fight with Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. The Daily Mail had reported that Elon Musk's swift departure from Doge in the White House was escalated by an outburst that turned violent, according to none other than Steve Bannon, who said that Elon Musk physically shoved the 62-year-old Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent after he was confronted over his wild promises to save the administration $1 trillion. Bessent apparently called Musk out and said, "You promised us $1 trillion in cuts, and now you're at like $100 billion, and nobody can find anything. What are you doing?" And that's when Elon got physical. It's a sore subject with him. It wasn't an argument, it was a physical confrontation. Elon basically shoved him. Bannon said that Trump 100% sided with Bessent after the clash, saying, "I don't think Bessent has any bad blood, but he's got a job to do and he's going to do it." And news of the confrontation was confirmed by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who said, "It's no secret Trump has put together a team of people who are incredibly passionate about the issues impacting our country. Disagreements are a normal part of any healthy policy process, and ultimately everyone knows they serve at the pleasure of Trump." Elon, meanwhile, was asked about the black eye during this Oval Office press conference, and he blamed it on his kid. He said that Little X, the name of his kid, did this because he asked him to punch him in the face, and the kid obliged. Okay.
I mean, this is a normal part. People punching people in the face is a normal part of what's going on in the White. Not any White House I've ever heard of. Like, I find this hilarious for them to be like, yeah, physical violence is completely acceptable and normal. Like, Scott Bessent's only 62. That also surprised me. I don't know. I recently come to realize I have no idea how old anyone is, but I find that hilarious that is allegedly what happened. And probably, I mean, of all the things, I think that's the most likely thing to happen because it's backed up by a lot. So let me get back. I'm trying to decide, should I restart? I mean, I don't know how much trouble I'm in from those 3 violations. It said like, I don't know if the live can be found. I think that's what it kind of said. So I can either restart, but then it just feels like it'll be so hard. Should I restart or not? I don't know. What do you guys think? I think maybe it'll be fine. Yeah, restart, or should we not restart? I mean, let's just see how it goes, and if it's bad, we will. But yeah, we should not talk about Fight Club. But I'm just saying, I wasn't saying anything. I didn't say the names of illicit substances. Like, we're not allowed to talk about why people showed up to the White House with black eyes and like what the New York Times is reporting on now. I didn't create this S show in the White House. I'm just reporting on it. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, I think that's most of the illicit content I was going to, like, that could probably get me in trouble for the day. Maybe I should have waited till the end, but it's been on my mind. I find it ridiculous. Now, outside of that ridiculous thing Elon said about Doge being like Buddhism, it's like an enlightenment we should to aspire to, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I think those illicit substances were helping him through this White House experience. He also said this, which if I've ever heard a bigger crock of shit, I cannot remember that I've ever heard someone say something less true in my life.
I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims. Empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims. And there's been way too much of that. That needs to stop. To the president.
That's what we have a problem with on the left, caring for the poor too much, caring for people who are unjustly prosecuted. Your empathy for you are the criminals. Like, am I in a nightmare where I do love watching conservatives desperate to like a black eye. Like, what are you talking about? Now, let's do follow that line of logic because I find it hilarious. So, the problem with the left is we have empathy for criminals and not victims. Am I the one running a pay for pardon scheme, hypothetically, allegedly? Absolutely not. So, let's figure out who is having empathy for victims and criminals. This is just like a short piece John Oliver did on his show that's been reposted pretty widely. You guys know last week I was very upset about all the pardons and, Trump's empathy for white collar fraud that has defrauded the United States and American victims out of millions and millions of dollars. And now they're not going to pay their restitution and people will suffer unnecessarily because Trump just will let people off who've defrauded people. Yeah. So who again is having too much empathy for criminals? I don't think it's the left. Stole $10 million. He was supposed to be paying Medicare and Social Security taxes for his workers and stole it to buy a yacht. Was supposed to pay $4 million in restitution, even though he defrauded us all of much more, and now doesn't have to pay any of it back because his mom gave Trump $1 million to go to dinner. Sorry, I had to wait for that part because I laughed so hard when I heard him say that's hilarious because that is what they look like. I never put it together myself. I always knew they looked like something was going on there. That's exactly. If you've never watched Chris Leo's Vets, it is. What he just said, that's what the parents look like. And it's like, what happens like when genes that aren't supposed to be mixed end up in children? That is exactly what's going on there. Now, again, just because I just want to point out now, after seeing who seems to be willing to let off criminals who've irreparably harmed Americans to the tune of millions of dollars, committed millions of dollars of fraud. Now, what was Elmo was saying again?
I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims. Empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims. And there's been way too much of that. That needs to stop. To the president.
I think I've proved my point through media. Like, what the world are you living in? You're the richest man in the world. A 62-year-old economist allegedly tried to punch you in the face. Look at your life. Look at your choices, space weirdo. Stop using our $8 million a day in tax dollars to crash rocket after rocket. Go back to school. Become an actual physicist. Become an actual rocket scientist. Sleeping through 4 years of undergrad makes you nothing. That's why I don't claim I'm the most amazing historian in the world, because I just have a 4-year history degree, just like you're not a rocket scientist because you slept through 4 years of undergrad physics, weirdo. Please stop using our tax dollars to crash rockets. Now, talking about Space Karen. So that's what Space Karen did, is pretend he changed. He has control of so much of the internet that he's changed his bio to pretend he's a rocket scientist. And I have to talk to 19 and 20-year-olds on the internet and debate them who swear to God Elon Musk is a rocket scientist. I'm sorry, I can't. It's just, imagine being the richest person in the world who can rewrite reality. It must be nice. Thank you for the flower crown. It's like the blind leading the effing blind. Actually, maybe I'll just put this. I'm going to say this part about Diddy, and I might restart the live because, I did just get another. I don't know why I'm in so much trouble. I think it's from the beginning. It's not my fault that Space Karen is up to all this. I'm just reporting on the news. But I will say this, and just to tie this all together in a neat bow of absolute corruption, I have to listen to the richest corrupt man in the world say that the left has too much sympathy for criminals. Well, here's Trump saying he's not going to rule out pardoning Diddy, which I actually read, and I'm saying that because Trump's own people, there's books written about him and people that have worked in his cabinet saying that Trump won't read a Post-it note. So as someone who's reading the court files of the Diddy trial, Yeah, that's the same reason he's obscuring the Epstein files, I'm sure. Maybe he's gonna appear in some of them. We don't know.
And this one's a little bit more of a page 6 question, but back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper.
It's two guys that treat women like trash. We really used to get along. Yeah, we know, weirdo.
All of a sudden,
And this is for all the people, because I remember MAGA, because I know your brains don't work, and I mean that in the most loving way I can say it. They don't, very clearly. And whenever Diddy first got indicted, I would be debating, and then people would be like, Diddy, didn't he take a picture of Obama? This is a man actively defending Diddy and trying to pardon him. So let's just keep that clear. This is a man, remember when you wanted the Epstein files? This is a man mentioned in them over and over who won't give them to you. I don't care who you are. If you're on the left, from the far left to the far right, if you're abusing women, you need to be put in jail for it, period. You need to be held accountable. There should be no amount of money that you can pay to some weirdo to get pardoned for what that man has done. There is no world in which it is acceptable. And MAGA, whilst you try to pretend you care about women, which we all know you don't, because you're voting for legislation that disproportionately mathematically harms women, this is the man you support. The guy that wants to pardon Diddy.
It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Yeah, Trump doesn't ever do what's right. Not logically or mathematically, according to facts, with the best interest of the average American. Yeah, he does not. Oh, and this is just an unearthed video of Trump asked a woman who previously worked for Diddy if he's a good guy, and she declined to answer. And don't worry, Trump corrected her on that. So, MAGA, whenever you want to wonder who loves Diddy, it is your Lord and Orange Savior, Donald Trump.
But I have to say, and I am a very strict and focused businesswoman because working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy?
Absolutely.
I love Diddy.
Don's never been wider. I love Diddy.
I love you.
I love Dinky and all of them folks who do that
For
kind of...
shizzle my nizzle.
You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that
Oh,
question.
wow. I
don't
think
know.
he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
But I have.
And there you have it, MAGA, you hypocrites. Please miss me with the BS. You don't care about women. Donald Trump has been found civilly liable of SA, supports other people who treat women like absolute garbage, and is now refusing to rule out pardoning Diddy. So please miss me with the BS. And actually, I'm trying to decide if I even want to go through this, if it's worth it. But it is driving me nuts. Jake Tapper is worthless and is, this video, or I'm trying to decide if I even have the energy. There's this, I don't know how much people understand about what Trump's saying about AutoPen, that anyone that uses AutoPen, or I think his actual argument is if you have cancer, and you use AutoPet, or if you ever develop cancer years after pardoning someone, then Trump will say that he can invalidate a presidential pardon by just saying you had cancer. I'm not 100% clear on all of it yet, and all of this is BS. I just want to be clear factually. You don't even have to sign presidential pardons. You can utter them aloud and no one can do anything about it. So that's why I find this hilarious, which it's all just a lie. And I have to listen to MAGA being like, yeah. And well, we'll get to it. But this is Trump talking about AutoPen right before confessing to using it himself.
Do you think that Dr. Jill Biden should also have to come in and testify about what she did or didn't do?
And maybe I should be clear, because Trump is running the economy into the ground. His approval ratings are tanking. Every single thing he has done has been bad for the economy, bad for the average American people. The big, beautiful bill blows out the deficit. It's the single largest widening of the deficit in one bill in American history, as well as the debt. So Trump's got to come up with weird things that make no sense to try to distract people. So he has James Comer on the case. Like, when you start seeing, again, ridiculous congressional hearings led by James Comer again, that's what they're talking about.
Well, I hate the concept of it. It's the wife of a man who was going through a lot of problems, and everybody that dealt with him understood that. And I guess it came out during the debate loud and clear. That was the biggest signal of all. They have to do what's right. The country there was a lot of dishonesty in the election, as you know, 2020. That's been now caught. People understand it was a rigged election.
No one understands that. Mathematically, no outcome determinative fraud has ever been found in the 2020 election. And I'm not talking about because Democrats investigated it. Trump was in office. The Trump federal DOJ investigated it. Republican states investigated it. They had outside consulting firms, 2 different ones, investigate if there was fraud in the 2020 election, and no outcome determinative fraud was ever found. Just because we want to talk about who's not fit to do the job, senile pathological liar here is not fit to do the job. So just making sure we're clear on who. I will love if we challenge Biden's senility. Like, that's hilarious. Let's go down that road, and then we can just see who can provide more clips of people behaving like they aren't sane. We'll just see who has more.
And when you go further out, when you see the AutoPen, I think the AutoPen is going to become one of the great scandals of all time, because you have somebody operating it or a number of people operating. Because I knew Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't in favor of.
It's not how it works. Trump has used AutoPen, and so he must be lying, or he somehow is using it and then is pretending to not know how it works.
Opening up borders, letting 21 million people into this from prisons and mental institutions and gang members. He wasn't into that at all.
Another lie. Again, we want to challenge who's senile and who should be sitting here making decisions from the country. And that has never been proven. Since the first time he said it in 2016, he's been asked over and over and over to provide a shred of evidence that any of that has occurred, and has never provided any. So let's take it to the courts where the truth matters. Let's decide who's nuts.
And who signed these orders, proclamations, and all of the different things that he signed that set our country so far back, that was so bad for our country.
With the AutoPen, how would it work?
That's you, Trump. You signed all the executive orders and all these ridiculous tariffs that have driven our country into the ground. And let me help you. One person. You spent in your first term, drove the economy into the ground, blew out the deficit, spent $8.4 trillion that is directly tied to you. Then Biden came in, closed the deficit, lowered the deficit, right? The difference between the revenue being brought in and what was being spent actually lowered the deficit during a worldwide pandemic, brought down inflation. Manufacturing jobs in the U.S. rose. did everything he could do to recover the economy. And you then, because you want to manipulate the economy and drive the markets down so you can buy low and you and your friends with capital can profit obscenely off of you and your fake tariff plans. And now you're saying somehow it's Biden's executive orders that hurt people. Please, I do think we should take this to court and see who financially harmed the average American more, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And if you believe it's Joe Biden, then you are not very intelligent, nor can you do basic math. Oh, and here's after that whole thing about Trump saying AutoPad's awful, we don't know how it works, then he just confesses immediately after to using it himself.
Auto pens, to me, are used to sign letters to people because we get, I think they said 20,000 letters a week. And you like to be able, when somebody takes the time to write a letter, it's nice to sort of write back. And auto pens are meant for that. Auto pens are not meant to sign major proclamations or tax cuts.
Wrong. Another thing he's wrong. Please, take him to court and see who's senile. Like, this man has no idea what he's talking about. Not one word he says is true.
Or borders, anything having to do with
wrong again.
Border, which is so important. And if it happened on my watch, I would be able to see it because the next day or sooner, I'd be reading about some.
Own cabinet members say you don't read. There are books written from your first term of people who worked in your cabinet that said we couldn't get him to read a Post-it note. I'm going to present evidence in a few minutes of Tulsi Gabbard trying to put on a literal production of a Fox News show in the morning in front of him because he won't read intelligence updates and they don't know what to do. So they want to get someone to pretend to be a Fox News anchor to put on a show in front of him because they can't figure out how to make the man read. And he's saying he would notice because he can read. It has been proven that this man does not read. I'm not saying he cannot. I'm saying everyone that has worked for him has confirmed that he does not and will not read. And he's saying I would notice because I read, except for every single person that's ever worked for you or around you has testified to the contrary.
Thing that I knew nothing about, and who the hell signed this? So I almost never use the auto pen. In fact, yesterday I was signing about 81 proclamations and statements to people that I think should be signed by us. I think when you write letters to foreign dignitaries or presidents or prime ministers, you should be signing those letters, not done with auto pens. I understand he signed almost everything with an auto pen. It's a very dangerous thing. It really means you're not president.
Trump has not understood one thing in his life. You mean you're just speculating and you have no idea? Yeah, that's what we thought. But I'm trying to think of what order I want to go in. This is Comer saying he's going to investigate, but I do want to just get this clear. While Trump is just muttering incoherently because he is actually not smart and possibly senile about auto pens, I do just want these fact checks for anyone that can read, which would preclude Trump. You can look into this. It doesn't matter if you never use your fingers. What if a president we elected had no hands? Does that mean he can't pardon anyone? Does that mean if he used an auto pen, nothing he did or said if his hands stopped working, nothing he was doing was legitimate? I know, MAGA, you can't be this not smart. You've got to be able to work through it. This is an actual fact check, originally posted by PolitiFact, right? About auto pens. I do want to. We found universal agreement among legal scholars that the Constitution doesn't require a pardon's direct human signing, and subsequent judicial decisions and legal memoranda support an auto pen's use for similar purposes. And legal scholars also agreed that there is no constitutional mechanism to overturn pardons once granted. And God knows I wish there were, J6ers. God knows I wish there were. Wait, hold on. I don't want to leave its things. When asked Yeah, that's the quote we just heard him say. I want to get to this. So, Constitution does not address pardon document methodology. So, this is because MAGA, you don't know anything about the Constitution. If there's one thing I've learned in the last 200 days, it's that none of you have ever read the Constitution. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 says the president has the power to grant pardons, but makes no mention of sign or signature. More than a half dozen constitutional law experts told PolitiFact they see no restriction in the Constitution on the use of autopen. The president possesses the power to pardon, but there's no specification, unlike for the signing of bills, that this pardon be in writing. That's a Stanford University scholar of British and American constitutional law. Hence, it is not clear that a signature would be even required, as the decision to pardon could be oral rather than written. And I know you guys have an idea of what oral means. That means just spoken out loud. By comparison, Article 1, Section 7 says that bills that pass the House and Senate shall be presented to the President of the United States. If he approves, he shall sign it. Yeah, okay. And those are just examples of different signatures. I think there's one more part I wanted to read of this. Yeah, Trump can't reverse Biden's pardons. Legal experts agree that nothing in the Constitution, sleep well tonight, J6ers, criminals. Legal experts agreed that nothing in the Constitution or the law permits pardons to be reversed. Pardons are final and irrevocable. In an 1869 ruling, a federal court wrote, quote, "The law undoubtedly is that when a pardon is complete, there is no power to revoke it, and any more than there is power to revoke any other completed act. Making the argument that pardons can be reversed is a risk for Trump himself," which, God, I wish it was. I wish we could. Listen, I'll undo all Biden's pardons. I don't care. What does that mean anything to me? If we can then undo all Trump's, let's effing go. Let's undo every person Biden ever pardoned. And then right after, let's do it to everyone, all the rich fraudsters that Trump has pardoned for $1 million. I can't wait. I'm on board. Let's pull back all the pardons. Let's do it. You guys don't even you can't follow a line of logic to save your lives. You can do it. I know. One day you'll figure it out, but not soon. It won't be soon. Now, again, this is Trump. Senile Trump, who can't find his way out of a paper bag, and everything he says, either because he is not completely not smart or senile, I don't know which. You guys can determine what's wrong with him. This is what he said on Friday about Biden and his cancer.
He's been a sort of a moderate person over his lifetime, not a smart person, but a somewhat vicious person, I will say. If you feel sorry for him, don't feel so sorry, because he's vicious. What he did with his political opponent and all of the people that he hurt a lot of people, Biden. And so I really don't feel sorry for him.
I'm fascinated because it's like my mom is afflicted by the same thing Trump is. And it's like every time they point their finger and say something, they're actually talking about what they're guilty of. Yeah, no, Biden is the kindest person, possibly one of the kindest people to ever be president of the United States, who was just oozing empathy to the point where maybe that was what was hindering him. He had too much empathy, too much hope, too much belief in a broken system. That's what Biden was guilty of. You are everything you just accused him of, which is always what's going on with narcissists. They're like, hey, I'm about to describe myself while pointing at someone else, and I'm not smart enough to realize that's what I'm doing. It's like, it's hilarious. Oh, God. And here comes Ronnie Jackson, which I love because, again, this is how this is going to end up. Like, they're all going to start doing these pointless congressional hearings. Mind you, this is waste, fraud, and abuse. Our tax dollars pay for this. Pardons can't be revoked. Ronald Reagan had actual Alzheimer's for the second 4 years in office. And that's why you guys believed it trickled down, which we now have 45 years of data that say nothing trickles down. You were lied to by a guy with Alzheimer's. Does that mean we can undo everything Reagan did? Let's get on that. You can't. So all of this is pointless. And to distract from Trump running the economy into the ground to give billionaires more while robbing all of us, we're going to waste more of our tax dollars on pointless congressional hearings. And here's a Ronnie Pill Mill Jackson to let us know how that's going to go.
Right after the Robert Hur tapes were released that were obviously showing Joe Biden's performance in real time in those Robert Hur tapes, right after that, the administration, the former administration releases the fact that Joe Biden has prostate cancer, and it's very aggressive. How does prostate cancer go from nothing to really aggressive in just a short few months?
Well, that's a little bit unbelievable as well, Maria. They claim that they diagnosed it on a Friday, that they biopsied it on the same day, got the results back, found out that it was prostate cancer, and then they basically realized that it metastasized all over his body. That's a little unbelievable, if you ask me. And so
Didn't metastasize all over his body, Ronnie. That's just you making some shit up, but okay. But yeah, that's what his doctor said in his medical files, which I think that's what happens when you're a former US president. Like, once they need to biopsy, they figure it out right away. Not for the rest of us. This is the two-tier healthcare system. But for rich people who used to be president, yeah, I think they get a jump on it.
I don't think that happened. I think it was a diversion. It was right before the book came out from Jake Tapper and right after the
I don't think it happened that he has cancer. What?
Tapes. So I think they were trying to create some sympathy for the former president. And, we're going to get to the bottom of this. There's going to be a lot of whistleblowers that are going to come out of the woodwork over the next few months. You wait and see. We're going to learn a lot.
So that's what's happening. Where is this going? Do you think were there crimes committed?
Absolutely. I think if people were, signing pardons, signing executive orders, signing legislation without the president knowing.
Now that I just walked you through that auto pen, he could speak pardons out loud. He could say, I choose to pardon this list of people, and it sticks. Presidential pardons can be oral. So do you understand the level of BS and time wasting going on? But again, let's overturn all Biden's pardons, and then on the same president, let's overturn all Trump's. That would be the best day of my life. I'm tired of, I don't care if you're a president's son. I don't care why you are special enough to get a pardon. The rest of us aren't. So I actually really don't care. I hope we overturn every president. I hope all Trump's pardons get overturned on the basis of senility, because there's a better case. If you're saying, hey, if you're too nuts to make any sense and you pardon people, then it's not valid. Great. I can't wait.
About it, absolutely. That's a crime. Those people have to be held accountable, and we're going to find out who those people were. We're going to find out that was going on. I have a question.
Again, nobody has to sign the pardons with their hands, with AutoPad. None of that even has to happen. So, Ronnie, again, I encourage you to read, which you won't, but thank you again for embarrassing yourself on TV. Okay, I'm trying to think of where I want to go with this. I do think this is an important, well, actually, no, because I'm already in so much. I've already gotten like 5 violations and I think I'm in trouble. So I actually don't think I can play that. But I'll just say yesterday, Margaret Brennan had the FDA commissioner on and like ran him over about COVID and like the recommendations that like pregnant women don't get vaccinated and children. I mean, it was crazy, but I really don't. Oh, I love that. Was that a Super Nintendo controller? That's like my dream, a rainbow. And at the end is a Super Nintendo controller. Thank you so much for the gifts. By the way, if you like all the research and all the clips I put together for the people's receipts, this is my Cash App and Venmo, just like my account name, A Girl Has No Name, which also, if you're not following me on TikTok, please do. I'm trying to get to 200,000 followers. I think I'm close. I think I have like 40 to go. I don't know. It's somewhere. And then like, if I ever get there, then I'll probably lose more followers and then I won't be there. But like in theory, the last I checked, I think I need like 40 or something, 50 followers to get to 200,000. So no, I know it says that, but like, I know. And everyone's always like, it says 200,000. I don't think that's technically here. Look, I can hold on. Like in TikTok Studio, it tells you the exact, like down to like how many followers you have. I don't think I have 200,000. At least I didn't when I started this live. I think it just looks like I do. Hold on. Yeah, I have God, have I lost 2 followers? I might have lost 2. Wait, I need 42 followers. I think I lost 2 followers. It says I have 199,958. So yeah, I need like 42 followers if my math's wrong. I've already been live this morning since 5 a.m. for 4 hours. So if that's not the right math, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I know it looks like I do. I just don't. Like, you'd be surprised like how much follower counts fluctuate. Like, I don't know why, but or maybe it's just me. Maybe people hate me and I just lose followers all the time. But okay. Yeah, I'm not going to play someone screaming about COVID misinformation, because that will probably be the nail in the coffin that gets me finally banned for the rest of the week. So this is important, though. I know when Fax and I were live earlier, I was screaming about we were talking about Joni Ernst and how the Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa and how she's out of her effing mind. Well, last Friday when I didn't go live, one of the things I wanted to show you guys, what's her name? I think not a senator from Iowa, but a representative. I think her name's Ashley Hinson. And then the other guy from Nebraska, we like watched his town hall that blew up in flames in front of his face. Representative Mike Flood, they did it again. These people had town halls that like people almost like were, if they had piles of rotten tomatoes, they would have been thrown at them on stage. So I just want to show you some of what has happened in the Midwest and in Iowa and Nebraska at these town halls that did not go so hot. I was going to show you this last Friday to cheer everyone up, but now I got a better because now I have the clips of Joni Ernst acting an absolute fool. And I don't have that many, but I think this is, so the question is, are you afraid of Trump? This is, so I'm going to start with a Joni Ernst clip that's a little long, and then I'll end with the ones that we have been reported on when she's like, who cares if people lose health insurance, if kids and elderly people lose health insurance, everyone dies, and then we'll end with that and we'll just march on. But I want to show clips of Mike Flood's. At least he's doing town halls. I mean, they are absolute shit shows, but at least Representative Mike Flood just keeps showing up in places in Nebraska to be aggressively booed off stage. I'll give him that. At least he's trying. And I think I was reading he's hosting another one like in another month. Like, some people would go into hiding if they'd had Mike Flood's luck, but he's still going. Joni Ernst is the worst. And I could get into why I think that, but I mean, truly, Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, I would say she's the worst, but then I remember that Chuck Grassley is the senior senator from Iowa, and he is still in Congress since coming on a covered wagon in 1899. So actually, maybe she's not the worst. But Iowa, it's time for some changes. The people in power in your state are questionable at best. Oh, really quick, before I start this clip. Johnny, thank you for the $5. Good information. Way to keep it simple and concise. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Thank you so much for saying that. And then I feel like I had a couple other things. Oh, subscriptions. Who bought these? Tammy J or Steve. Who bought these subscriptions? Someone bought. Joby. Thank you, Joby. You're the great Joby Wan Kenobi, my favorite. Thank you so much for the support. We're at 416 subscriptions. If you would like to subscribe, you can buy month subscriptions for other people. If Joby bought you a giveaway sub and now you have a sub, thank him, Joby, in the comments. If you want to subscribe or buy subscriptions for everyone else to help me get to 500, it's that yellow star in the bottom left corner. So again, this is this junior senator of Iowa, Joni Ernst, having a town hall where people were not having it.
My name is Harrison Cass. I'm a former naval line officer. I'm a retired school superintendent living in Waterloo, Iowa. Thank you for coming here today to speak with us. This is what democracy should be about, is direct face-to-face.
Sarah, I love how he's like, thanks for being here, right before he's just like, surprise, I'm about to blindside you. I love how he's like, hi, I'm a teacher. I'm a nice person. Thanks for being here. And I think you have no spine.
Waterloo, Iowa. thank you for coming here today to speak with us. This is what democracy should be about, is direct face-to-face contact with your constituents, and we appreciate that. These are troubling times in the United States of America. Many Americans, including me, have great concerns about the direction that our president is taking, our federal government is taking right now. We clearly have, and this is already in place, we clearly have a president who is destroying the federal government to serve his own purposes. And I could go into hundreds of things. Well, I don't have time to do that today, but let's just say the main thing that disturbs me is this, and it affects all of the other things we've talked about so far. The destruction of the checks and balances that the president has already put in place. He's fired inspector generals. He's fired the leaders, any leader of the federal government that disagrees with him on any political notion. He has fired, and he's even pursuing lawsuits against those who lawfully acted and challenged him in the past when he was trying to overthrow the government. Now he has taken over the government, and he's been very clear about it. He's been good about it. In 4 months, he's made it into a dictatorship. And the worst thing that I think he's done is this. Obviously, the changes, I used to teach political science and history when I first became a teacher after leaving the U.S. Navy. And what I taught about was the 3 branches of government, the checks and balances and balance of power, to our kids in southern Iowa in the high school where I taught. Those are all gone now. And the worst thing is the Senate and the House of Representatives have been rendered useless. And you folks have let it happen. You've sat back and done nothing. The House is the best example. We're still seeing on the Senate, looks like there's a little gumption to fight back against the new dictator. But this has been like a Nazi blitzkrieg, and you folks have sat and done nothing. Now, I know that you were going to go against Pete Hegseth, who is an incompetent fool running the Department of Defense. But you got scared. So my question is this. Are you afraid of Trump?
Scared. This is the best question I've ever heard. Best 5-minute question of my life. But you got scared, which factually, that is what happened, Joni. You got bullied and got scared because you have no spine. Like, yes, I love best 5-minute question of all time.
We're going to go against Pete Hegseth, who is an incompetent fool running the Department of Defense. But you got scared. So my question is this. Are you afraid of Trump? Are you corrupt like Trump? Or are you just at the point you don't care anymore and that's why you don't do anything?
No. No, first, thank you for your service. I do appreciate that.
Hey, Joni, don't get me into how you have betrayed veterans.
Obviously, I don't agree because I don't think our country is being destroyed. On the other hand, I see that our country is being with the federal government, and because I've worked on these squeal issues for so long, I'm not squealing, ma'am. It's the DOGE efforts we're going through. Why was our federal government, sir, because you taught civics, federal government. Why was the federal government established 2.5 centuries ago? It was established for the common defense of the people. So our military defending our country, number one. It was for a common judiciary to settle disagreements. And it was for those things that the people could
promote the general welfare. She doesn't even know the preamble to the Constitution. You're a disgrace.
Not do for themselves. That's why the federal government was established. Did it mean planting wildflowers along the interstate? No. All of these other programs that the federal government has been.
Anyone yelling about planting flowers along the interstate? Are you out of your effing mind? You just passed a bill that is the largest transfer of wealth that will blow out the deficit. And I'm talking now libertarian think tanks. The minimum estimate is 3.4 trillion. You are stealing from Medicaid because of the Save As You Go Act. If the deficit widens beyond 2.3 trillion, which the lower estimate is Trump is 1.1 trillion over the 2.3 trillion limit, then they start stealing from things like Medicare that we paid into thinking when we retired we were going to get access to it. They are going to steal 45 billion year after year for a total of $500 billion. And she has the nerve to talk to people as if they are dumb, saying it's about planting flowers on, sorry, I always say save as you go, pay as you go. Thank you. I don't know why I keep saying that. Is like the third time I've said that. I don't know. There's something in my brain that makes me want to say pay as you go. Yeah. That was a Republican bill too. And there's a 4% cap. That's why they can only steal $500 billion in Medicare. And she's acting like we're all disputing whether or not there are flowers on the sides of interstates. She needs to go.
Expanded to was not the role of the federal government. The things that were not spelled out, the things that were not spelled out into the Constitution were delegated under the 10th Amendment to the states. So what we are seeing in federal government is the right sizing of the federal government and
again, here's how I know Joni Ernst should not be in elected office, which I don't think she doesn't know this, right? John, thank you for the super chat. He's like, I'm using my AutoPen to send you this donation. You're the best, John. Thank you. Oh, thank you for using AutoPen. Hopefully it doesn't invalidate said donation because you didn't sign it with your own hands. No, but I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Trump has spent $200 billion more, right? We know Elon Musk is claiming he has saved, or he said he was going to save $1 trillion. Apparently he has a black eye because of Scott Bessent, allegedly. I don't know if that's true. That's what reports are also saying on Capitol Hill, that he got in a fight with a 62-year-old economist and now has a black eye, who was asking him, you said you were going to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. You said you were saving $8 trillion. You've done nothing but steal data. What the F is wrong with you? We know that when you unlawfully fire a bunch of federal workers, and this is minimum, we haven't begun to see the damage, that we know minimum, just us settling the lawsuits and wrongful termination things is going to cost us $135 billion. There is not 1 cent that has been saved by the Trump administration. So if you cannot do math, if you believe what she's saying, that the federal government and the swamp has gotten smaller or they are spending less, then you cannot do math. Or you just take the pathological liars at their word. I mean, I think it's a combination. You're in cognitive dissonance, but I can tell you the facts are they have wasted billions, hundreds of billions more than Joe Biden did. Joe Biden paid down the deficit. Joe Biden closed the gap between the revenue coming in and the expenditures coming out. It's so frustrating. Joni Ernst is disgusting. Now, just to cheer everyone up really quick, I'm just going to show a clip of Jasmine Crockett talking about Mike Flood. And then I'm going to show you the clips of Representative Mike Flood, take 2 in Nebraska of him getting screamed at by people.
But today you're taking part in a People's Meetup town hall in Miami Gardens, Florida. How do you expect this town hall to stand apart from the ones we're seeing Republican lawmakers booed and laughed at this week?
I don't have drama at my town halls. I just, listen, because I can stand by my votes. I can defend my votes. I don't have drama. And listen, this is really about us making sure that we're having... That part, because especially with your homeboy talking about he didn't know that was in the bill. That was absolutely in the original judiciary markup that came out. So I knew about it and we fought about it, but okay, whatever. But nevertheless, I think that it's about the fact that I really take the time to try to educate people. I'm not necessarily saying you got to agree with me or disagree with me, but I at least want you to understand what is going on. And I want to make sure that if you are getting the disinformation or the misinformation, that I am correcting the record and backing it up with receipts. You know, if I got to tell my staff, hey, go find which page this is on so that people can see it, then I will do that. But I think that right now, what they want people to be is uninformed. They are out there and they are doing these town halls. And honestly, they are finding out that people have actually gotten the real information. So thank you so much for what y'all do, because I know that y'all are constantly on the front lines of making sure that people have accurate and real information instead of living in la la land or trying to pretend that when this administration gives us a breadcrumb, we should say, thank you, O King, for feeding us because we are starving.
Great, Jasmine. I love it. But that's the truth. Like, that's what listen, you don't have to agree with me, but math doesn't lie. I'm just going to present the data of who's robbing you. Now, you can continue delusionally blaming brown people who have nothing. But the forensic accounting, right, always follow the money. And that's the beauty of accounting. Accounting doesn't lie. The blockchain doesn't lie. You are being robbed by the conservatives you continue to vote for. So again, you don't have to do what I want you to do with the information, but you should understand the math. Math doesn't lie. I know it's not the way you want it to turn out differently because you feel like Trump's your daddy and he's going to save you, but that's not what the story the math is telling. Anyway, so I'm just going to show a couple of clips from Mike Flood again. If you remember, why I think this is funny is because we did this once before. He got run over once before in Nebraska by his constituents. And this was like even bigger. It's like in an auditorium this time. And it wasn't much better for poor Representative Mike Flood. Bless his heart. He was trying out there. Like, I don't know why he does this. I think he's probably, this is what I'm saying. MAGA men, if you want to be belittled for money, just message me. Because if we're going into recession, I'm going to parlay like what I do in debate into like a career as an S worker. So if any of you, I'm starting to think Mike Flood is one of these MAGA men that wants to be screamed at. And he gets off on it because that's the only thing I can figure out why he's doing this stuff. And he has like another one scheduled. I feel like he likes this a little too much.
Just like in Columbus in late March, this week in Seward, the representative from Norfolk was once again frequently booed and otherwise interrupted as he discussed pathways towards lowering the national debt, keeping weather balloons afloat, and ensuring Medicaid remains funded. But Flood stressed that it's critical for an elected official to give constituents an opportunity to express their views, even if they're different from his own.
We are ultimately on the same team, and we're never going to agree on every issue, but I can always do better. I can always do better in my communication. I can always do better in service to you, and we can always be better as Nebraskans.
Despite the energy exhibited at these two events so far this year, Congressman Flood says he remains committed to hosting another town hall event.
Mike Flood be committed to learning how to do basic arithmetic? Like, is that a possibility? I mean, I'm telling you, he's getting off on this. There's no other explanation why he wants to be berated by large groups of people like this. He's enjoying it.
I want to get right into questions and answers. I will tell you, a lot of you, as I talked to you on the way in, had concerns with the bill that we passed in reconciliation on Thursday morning. I voted for that bill. I voted for that bill. And I'll tell you what concerned me the most about
Don't talk. It's better that way. No, he wants this. I'm telling you, he's getting off of this. There's no other. He already has the next town hall scheduled. Nobody else will do town halls in Nebraska. And Mike Flood's like, a group of people loudly berating me? Oh, I'd love to.
How do you justify the reduction of programs for poor while giving enormous tax breaks to the wealthiest 10% in the U.S.?
Well, ultimately, like I've said tonight, it's a balance. It's a balance. We need Medicaid for those that are the most vulnerable. We need Medicaid for those that are not able-bodied. We need Medicaid for the developmentally disabled and the mentally ill. We need health care services. We need EMTALA to work at our area hospitals. We need to know that if you present yourself at a hospital, we have a health care system that's going to help you. We are balancing that every single day. In fact, Republicans said that we need to protect Medicaid.
Okay, next question.
It's above the blanket, Mike. I'm telling you, he likes this. There's no other. I've thought a lot about it. There's no other explanation other than he likes this. Oh wait, I need to find this. This is a good clip too. Hold on. I have to. Wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, hold on. I have this clip. I just gotta find it in my never-ending cesspool of clips. Or maybe I'm pretty sure I have it. Where did it go? Oh wow. I think that was a conglomerate of clips. Whatever. I have many more of Mike Flood embarrassing himself in public. This is today's. Hold on one second. Okay, moving on. Wait, we just listened to that one. Oh, I do have it. Never mind. I just put the same screenshot twice. Okay.
The president is destroying our democracy by defying the courts and the Constitution, attacking and silencing free speech in the media, allowing security breaches, erasing history, using tax dollars and presidential power for personal gains, blaming DEI and using it to discriminate, and promoting eugenics and genocide, all while showing signs of cognitive decline. Your votes, actions, and inactions show that you are a fascist politician, so please explain how you are not encouraging fascism, and are you going to invoke articles of impeachment against Trump?
I get that you get an applause line when you call me a fascist, but I'm not.
That means you don't know the definition of fascist. If you are voting for conservative policy, it hits all 14 points of fascism. You just, I love how MAGA thinks fascism is a word that's like an insult to them, but they have no idea that it's like a technical place on the ideological scale, right? Like, this is the political spectrum. Fascism falls on the right-wing conservative political ideology. Like, it's not up for debate. You just don't understand what the word means. Doesn't mean you don't hit all 14 points. Like, it just means you don't know what words mean.
I am not a fascist. I'm an American, and I would never call you.
Help you. Those two words, not mutually exclusive. You can be an American fascist. Let me help you as a former second grade teacher. American would be the adjective describing the noun fascist in that statement. They are not, in fact, mutually exclusive. Nebraska, you're electing a man that does not know what words mean.
Something like that. But I can tell you, at the end of the day, we have to live in this country together. I have an opinion about the debt. I believe that we need to cut spending. I believe that we need to figure this out before our financial markets fail. And I will do my best to stand up for you and the Constitution of the United States.
I don't think they believe you, Mike. You weirdo. Like, this man, thank you for the awesome headphones that drowned out Mike Flood. This guy's the worst.
Why is it that only the rich benefit from this and the rest get stuck having to pay the debt later as we do with this bill?
Say that last part again. Sorry.
Why do we have to pay the debt later as we do with this bill?
This is not going anywhere. Obviously, it's the thing that I care the most about. This bill, while it isn't perfect, is the first time in generations that we've actually made major mandatory spending cuts. We have to grow the economy as much as we cut this.
I want to be clear. So even with all of the robbing they've done, stealing from the poorest of the poor, 40% of babies are born through Medicaid funding, right? Rural hospitals closing, everything they've done. This bill still, after all of that, is the largest blowout to the deficit in one bill in U.S. history. Nothing he's saying is true. We know trickle-down, we have 45 years of data that show us trickle-down economics doesn't work, that it does not stimulate growth of the middle class. So you can tell whatever story you want to tell. It's not mathematically true, though. Data doesn't support anything you're saying.
In order to get out of this. Otherwise, here's the interesting thing to me, though. If we think this is uncomfortable tonight, imagine the day that comes when the bond market and people don't buy our 10-year treasuries. This conversation gets a lot harder. A lot harder.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not what I've shown you guys week over week. Our 10-year treasury yield bonds are already not being bought. We tried, and he's defending this bill he voted for. Just know, when it passed, or the night before it passed, we tried to sell off our debt. He's talking about the 10-year treasury yield debt. We tried to sell the bonds, and they wouldn't buy the mother effing debt. That is why everyone's mortgage rates have gone up, because of the 10-year treasury yield that was affected by a vote of no confidence directly linked to this bill. And either you don't know that or you're a pathological liar. Either way, nobody should reelect this man. Like, I mean, I suspect he's a pathological liar. The 10-year treasury yield has gone up and to the right. And I've seen MAGA online on X. Like, I love it. They're like, just like a graph should look, up and to the right. Yeah, not with the 10-year treasury yield. That's bad. That makes these mortgage rates and auto loans, everything's going up. No bueno up and to the right with the treasury yield.
And I believe that we are at least going the right direction by cutting mandatory spending.
Anybody that can do math and understands economics says the exact opposite, but that's fine. And again, all of the cuts, stealing from the poor, doesn't begin to offset what they're doing, the debt we're going into. Just know that. Even though children won't have health care, people are being thrown off Medicaid, none of that is offsetting the spending. Just so you know. Even though the poor are going to die, children won't have health care. Despite all of that, we are still blowing out the debt, widening the deficit. So, which he must know. And again, nobody should vote for Mike Flood. He's not very intelligent.
Can you please tell us why you voted to approve a budget bill that includes Section 70302, which effectively prohibits federal courts from enforcing contempt orders? Which would then allow current and future administrations to ignore those contempt orders by removing the enforcement capabilities.
I do not agree with that section that was added to that bill. This provision was unknown to me when I voted for the bill.
It's funny because remember when I didn't sleep for 48 hours and I showed you all that and everyone was screaming on the House floor before the vote about it? Like, now he's just lying. He's like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. Everyone knew. It was screamed on the House floor minutes before they voted. And if you're confused, if you remember, like, they added the manager's amendment to the bill at the final hour, which was like 45 pages. And part of that basically said that unless federal judicial orders had been backed by a bond, a security bond, that they could be invalidated. Like, this is what Trump's doing. He's invalidating the federal judiciary whose job it is to place limits on the executive branch. and having Congress slip in workarounds and poison pills for him. And Mike Flood, who, if you have a pulse, you knew about it. I knew about it. I'm not in Congress. I was screaming about it for 48 hours. We all knew. Like, what are you talking about? This lady knows. A random lady in Nebraska knows. And you didn't know. Then why'd you vote for it, weirdo? And by the way, just to clarify that this guy's an S-bag, he was asked about that because, that clip kind of went viral. Oh, you had no idea about it and you're a U.S. representative who voted for the bill? Well, they asked him about that on CNN.
According to NBC, you explained at your town hall that you didn't know the bill included a provision that would limit a judge's ability to enforce contempt orders for defying the court because you hadn't read the full bill before voting on it. Do you want to see that provision taken out in the Senate version?
Well, first of all, I will say I did review the bill, and on its face, the 4 sentences that were raised dealt with civil rule of civil procedure, and as it relates to the contempt powers of a court in relation to an injunction. Only after we ended up voting on the bill did trust from the Bar Association reach out to me and say, "Hey, we need to examine this." Right now, this.
And he's lying. That's not what it says. So then you can't read. So that's not what it says. Then he's like, someone from the Bar Association told me otherwise. They were clearly stating this in the Rules Committee on the House floor. Jim Jordan had lawyers sitting next to him while he was being questioned about it. And the lawyers were saying, yeah, that's what this does.
Bill. It's in the hands of the Senate. It's ongoing. I plan to support the tax cuts. I plan to support President Trump's one big, beautiful bill. We need to get this tax relief done. Now that there's awareness about the section that I referenced, I think there will be a discussion about whether.
You're the only idiot who didn't know about that, and I don't even believe you, and it's sad that we all have to be in your presence. Mike Flood needs to never be voted for. Like, he is a liar. Anyways, this is Ashley Hinton, who's a representative from Iowa, who's also awful. And brace yourself. She also had a town hall the same day as Mike Flood in Iowa at a giant auditorium where people were very angry at her.
The election, I think Americans overwhelmingly rejected the status quo for the country. We were seeing an open border, high inflation. We were seeing hardworking men and women in Iowa.
Borders have never been open. Immigration law hasn't changed for decades, for like 6 decades. So what are you talking about? None of that is true.
And our country feel like their voices were not heard. Families in Iowa have told me for the last 4 years that we want to make sure we have safe streets, we have affordable groceries and gas, and that kids have opportunity to be able to live out the American dream. And that is what President Trump is delivering for us. And the president is, I believe, fighting for you and fighting for me. I'm fighting alongside of him. And I think God saved President Trump's life in Butler. I think he saved his life in Butler, Pennsylvania for a reason. I think that he is helping us to save and redirect the future of our country. He is helping deport criminal illegal aliens rather than letting them roam our streets freely.
Everyone knows that's not true. We can prove that. I can prove that he used the Alien Enemies Act to deport people who weren't just not criminals, but were in this country legally. We know that now. So if you're saying that he deported criminals, and I can prove to you, not only did he not just deport and disappear criminals to a concentration camp, people who were legally in the United States, had never committed a crime in any country on earth, have been disappeared to a concentration camp, never to be heard from again. We know that, factually, for sure. And this woman is lying about it.
He is ending the abuses of taxpayer dollars rather than treating your money like monopoly money.
It's actually the opposite. Again, the big beautiful bill is the single largest blowout to the deficit and the single largest blow to the debt or increase in debt in one bill in U.S. history. Period. And no amount of taking healthcare from poor people will offset that. We're still going into debt forever while we all suffer. So great job, MAGA. Great job not being able to do basic math and getting got by a bunch of pathological liars. Thank you so much. Keep tapping the screen. If you like all the research I do, this is my Cash App and Venmo. The girl has no name. Or also, I'm trying to get back to 500 subscriptions. That's the yellow star in the bottom left corner. I appreciate your support. Oh, wait, hold on. Here we go.
I was also proud to vote for President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill last week. This is a generational investment. This is a general investment. This is your time.
Sorry, I have a puzzle piece blocking me from moving. And God, TikTok Studio is getting weirder and weirder. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, is she not the worst? Like, literally the worst. She might be worse than Mike Flood. Like, the lies just get weirder and weirder with these people and more unbelievable.
President Trump and his cabinet, in addition to being totally unqualified and inept, are breaking laws by ignoring federal judges' orders. The checks and balances of our government includes Congress's responsibility to hold the executive branch accountable. My question for you is, when are you going to do the responsibility that you were elected for by holding the executive branch accountable up to and including impeachment?
Well, let me start off by saying
all these people in the Midwest with all these great questions for these pathological, clueless liars. Oh, just by the way, thank you so much, Gums, for this perfume you got me. Which, by the way, if you like Tom Ford, these knockoffs are the best. Ah, sorry, it just calms me down. Thank you, Gumps. You're the best. Oh, sorry. She got it for me off my Amazon wish list, and I forgot to say thank you at the beginning of the show, and I just saw it, so I'm just prepare, though. I love that these people are running over Ashley Hinton and the rest of them.
By holding the executive branch accountable up to and including impeachment.
Well, let me start off by saying that judges need to follow the law, and I don't think this country needs another impeachment charade. That's what we saw in the last Congress, and I voted no on that for a reason. Judges need to follow the law as well, and what I think is important about the bill we just passed is we have a number of judges who have been activist judges and going beyond the scope of their district courts. And if you look at Congress's the laws that are on the books and Congress's role there, judges need to be following federal civil procedure. So our bill includes.
Listen. Just by saying activist judges, the only job of the federal judiciary is to place limits on, they have many, to interpret the law and place limits on the executive branch. They're not activists. They're impartially interpreting the law. So just by nature of saying activist, right, that is in Donald Trump's talking points to try to discredit the federal judiciary. So just by saying that, I know that she's an unintelligent person who doesn't understand the rule of law in this country.
Provision that would make sure that they follow things like rule number 65, which is what we've seen egregious abuses of by some of these judges recently. We have a bill called the Rogue Rulings Act, which would
just yelled, "You're a fraud." I think that's accurate.
Help to again reel this in. If someone is suing in a district court, they should be provided relief in that district court. It's not a nationwide court decision. It is a district court decision.
I want you guys to understand why Trump is doing this. Trump's upset, right? And even though the Republicans do the exact same thing, right? They go to, like, let's say Judge Kazmierek near San Antonio, where he rules and rules alone. There's no appeals board over him, and he rules against women's rights to bodily autonomy, and then uses nationwide injunctions to stop women from getting the health care they need all around the country. And that's not an activist judge. That's a judge doing the Lord's work, right? And then if federal judges stop Trump from firing thousands of workers unlawfully, or holding up U.S. aid, or doing any sort of thing, or violating the emoluments clause, or deporting people without due process, then all of a sudden they're activist judges. And what they want is a federal judge to not be able to rule and issue a nationwide injunction. So they want us to have to go to every court, right, in every district in the land to stop them there. Like maybe we get a judge to issue an injunction in one district, but then they can still carry out their tyranny and unconstitutional bullshit in the rest of the districts until we get injunctions in every single district. That's what Trump wants. What Trump is mad about now, the Republicans aren't mad about it when they judge shop and they do it like, for voting rights, voter rights suppression, or for things like women's bodily autonomy. But when it's done to Trump, when a federal judge says, hey, you are violating due process, or you can't invalidate birthright citizenship, I'm issuing a nationwide injunction to stop this, Trump no likey. So she doesn't even, I don't know if she even understands what she's talking about, but she sounds like an idiot because this is their job.
And that is designed on purpose within our system, and so judges need to be following that law as well. As far as the checks and balances, Congress is executing its right to do that. We are using what's called the Congressional Review Act authority. We've used that in many cases already this Congress. When we don't like a rule or regulation introduced by an administration, Congress can use the CRA to do that. These votes, many of them have been bipartisan, and we have done that several times on rules that I think take our country in the wrong direction. Many of them are from the previous administration, but I don't care who's president. I'm willing to work with anyone to, again, make sure that we're respecting American citizens again. And 77 million Americans voted to make sure we were advancing these priorities.
The guy that just keeps screaming, you're a fraud or whatever, because that's what I would be doing. Like, hey, I know someone wrote everything you're reading. It's very clear you're reading something off a piece of paper, and you obviously don't even understand what you're reading because it doesn't make sense. The federal judiciary is doing what they can do lawfully, legally and lawfully every single day. That's what they're doing. And you're saying Donald Trump doesn't like it, so I want it to stop. They're still doing exactly what they're allowed to do. Like, we're literally in a nightmare where people are just like, Trump's whining and says he doesn't like something, so the federal judiciary should stop doing their jobs. Maxwell, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. So smart, so funny, grateful for your brain. I think I love you. I also love the name Maxwell. I love the name Maxwell. And Sebastian, as Seabass knows. I love those names. It makes me feel like we're all in a boarding school. I used to wish I was in like an English boarding school so I didn't have to wake up to my mother when I was a child. It's my dream that we all have boarding school names, in a perfect world. Wait, okay, yeah. I think I have one more clip of her embarrassing herself. I think, unless I've played this one.
We were seeing an open border, high inflation. We were seeing hardworking men and women in Iowa and our country feel like their voices were not heard. Families in Iowa have told me for the last 4 years that we want to make sure we have safe streets, we have affordable groceries and gas, and that kids have opportunity to be able to live out the American dream. And that is what President Trump is delivering for us. And the president is, I believe, fighting for you and fighting for me. I'm fighting alongside of him. And I think God saved President Trump's life in Butler.
Please, I was like, I feel like I've heard this bullshit. We did play this at the very beginning. I just want to point out how ludicrous it is for her to say that. Trump hasn't lowered prices. Trump has blown out the deficit. Trump has put our children's children in debt for life. Trump has literally presided over the largest transfer of wealth in a single bill in U.S. history, straight to the top of the economy. And I'll say this. When I worked in corporate America, even though I thought I was very into politics and I knew what was what, and I literally thought I was a liberal when I worked in the tech industry and advertising, I realized I really wasn't. I just thought I knew what was going on. And when you're working 80 hours a week just to survive, or, and that's your job and that's your focus, it's hard to know what's going on. I do sadly think there are a lot of people in America that voted for Trump because they really thought he was going to make their lives better. I do think of that. And I think the average person has no idea what's going on in politics. You know, people in this life, we know, but the average person doesn't. And that's why it's really sad that these charlatans are gaslighting and lying and making promises and robbing people. And we know this because of simple math. Simple math. That the people who said, don't worry, you can trust me. We're populists. Come over here. We'll make your life better. Robbed them blind. Like, it's a literal stick up. And that's the saddest part, is that these people can stand there in front of their constituents that elected them and lie through their effing teeth. Sorry, it just makes me furious. And I promised I would end with these Joni Ernst clips that everyone is talking about. I started with a Joni Ernst clip at her town hall when that guy just dismantled her for 5 minutes. But this is the clip where everyone's upset about, where she's just talking about, which, by the way, we already know this isn't true. I just want to be clear. The 13.7 to 14 million Americans over 9 years who will be kicked off Medicaid, we know that those are all American citizens, right? The analysis it has nothing to do with undocumented immigrants or any people on work. These are American citizens who will be kicked off Medicaid. We know that. That was confirmed seconds before the vote for the big, beautiful bill. I played Brendan Doyle like rushing to the House floor to state that those 13.7 million Americans who are going to lose their health care, those are all American citizens. And Joni Ernst, was trying to gaslight people. This is a senator in Iowa gaslighting people, and they really weren't having it. And when I say a shitstorm has followed this woman, that she tries to apologize while strolling through a cemetery, basically being like, yeah, everyone dies. Like, Joni Ernst, it's not doing so well for her.
When you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, they are not eligible, so they will be coming off.
The 13.7 million people who will lose Medicaid, these are American citizens. I want to be clear. We're not talking about people on work visas or people in temporary protected status that somehow in some obscure way qualify for any sort of benefits. They are all American citizens. And she's lying publicly, which people didn't appreciate.
They are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not. Well, we all are going to die.
Someone, if you can't hear what's happening in the background, someone's yelling, people are going to die. And her response is just, yeah, we're all going to die. Shut up. Like that. And I mean, when I say that this woman has had a tough weekend as a result of her choices, Joni Ernst is having a rough go this weekend.
For heaven's sakes, folks. When you
find this, hold on, I'm just looking for this clip of Brendan Doyle. Ew. Sorry. It's just, actually, I'll find it while I play another clip, but it just drives me nuts because I'm trying to remember. Actually, I think I know where it is. So anyway, so she says that, and when I say holy hell has been unleashed on Senator Joni Ernst at the Midwest, people don't like that she just thinks, yeah, everyone's going to die. You may as well die young, or your kids may as well die because they don't have Medicaid insurance. That was not well received among the poor people in the Midwest. So then she tries to apologize while strolling through a cemetery and basically just doubling down. I don't know how she thinks this qualifies as an apology. It sounds worse.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." and I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
I had an effing nightmare. Does everyone need to hear? I know you guys are thinking I made that up through AI. I wish, but that was something that I had just made up, like through with AI. I mean, can you imagine that you're just like, yeah, we're all going to die? And I just want to clarify that, Joni. Actually, no, I'm just going to add this. Hopefully, it depends on the iCloud and how. Oh, no, wait, I can just text it myself. I don't have to wait for the iCloud to update. This will be faster. Sorry, I just got a new iPad because my other one stopped charging. Because I just also want to prove that she's a liar. Because this is annoying. We'll just come back to this. Maybe we need to listen to that again. But I just want to go over the fact that this is a lie. She is lying.
When you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits.
No one's arguing that, especially not in Iowa, you weirdo. But hold on, let me just prove clear unequivocally, because you know me and facts. I'm just big on them. It's just great to always have them at your disposal. This is why I make these outlines. So when senators make up lies that I can just, wait, why is this not loading? Hold on. I can load it on here. Hold on. Maybe I'm going to have to. Let me try one more time. Because otherwise we're just going to have to listen to Brendan Doyle say it. But I don't know. I'm a visual learner. I do like when things work out the way I want it to. Oh, maybe I don't know. I just got this iPad. Here, let me just play it though. Again, this is right before they voted for the big, beautiful bill that robbed us all. And they, like the manager's amendment, that was like an additional 50 pages, was like brought in at the final hour and no one had analyzed it. That's what the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office does. It's just people that do calculations. Like the Republicans drew up this bill and then they're like, do the math calculations that explain what this bill will do, like mathematical projections. So Brendan Doyle, right before they vote, like at like 5 a.m., like runs down to the House floor to say this, which is just, Joni Ernst is a liar.
We just verified with the Congressional Budget Office, and of the 13.7 million Americans who will lose their health care because of their bill, exactly 0 are undocumented immigrants. So the complete artifice that the other side is attempting to convince you is that almost 14 million Americans will lose their health care, but don't worry about it. They're all illegals. They're all people who are defrauding the system. It's completely false, and every independent source has verified that it is false.
So again, Joni Ernst, I don't know why she's gaslighting the entire state of Iowa and lying to them and insulting their intelligence, but I think you should get rid of her because she doesn't deserve to be there. I could also go into her rumored affair with a certain someone. I suggest there's ProPublica articles that if I was in the state of Iowa would make me not want to vote for Joni Ernst. I don't know. That's a story for another time. I mean, and again, men have affairs all the time in the Republican, or do whatever they do in the Republican Party. I actually don't. You go, Joni Ernst. You do weird things for military contracts, but don't pretend that 13.7 million American citizens are not going to lose health care so that just a tiny chunk can be taken out of the debt we're about to go into and the deficit that's going to be blown out. So billionaires can get tax cuts and corporations can get tax cuts that we know factually now with 45 years of trailing data will never trickle down to any of us. Miss us with the BS. Nobody cares. Michael, thank you for the $20 on Cash App. It means so much to me. Thank you for doing this. I'm loving it. Are you Irish? That's a very Irish last name, Michael. I hope so. Okay, so Joni Ernst is a liar. I think she's on my last effing nerve. And then can we just listen now, knowing I've now proved, and by the way, that was Representative Brendan Doyle from Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, I'm loving that man. He's one to watch. Representative Brendan Doyle from Pennsylvania is going places. I'm so impressed with what he did, like for 48 hours of no sleep, like to drag his feet during that big, beautiful bill fiasco. He's a big deal. Anyways, let's again listen. And I'm not joking. I don't know if anyone can see it. Joni Ernst is strolling through a cemetery. Well, making up more lies and doubling down.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement.
Your lies about the people losing health insurance being undocumented, though. Oh no, not that. Not your actual lies. Just you're going to gaslight us. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And
not soon enough, Joni. Yeah, someone said she should stay in that cemetery. Just lay on down.
Made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal...
The person that then starts quoting the Bible, right? Talking about the flying spaghetti monster in the sky, and that she believes died on the cross for her sins, first invokes the tooth fairy. I guess it's only appropriate, like, once you are, to name another mythical character before you talk about the next one. It's like we're in an actual nightmare. Like, funny you should bring up the tooth fairy and then talk about another mythical person in the sky. At least the tooth fairy leaves money under your pillow.
The subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
No, thank you, Jody. Some of our brains work, and we're tired of being exactly. We'll just pray about it. I can't. I'm sorry. Jody Ernst is all my last nerd today. But the good news is, look, there are a few people who are more horrible than Joni Ernst. Maxwell, thank you for becoming a rad musician. Pro-Life Party says, well, everyone... Anyway, exactly. Maxwell, thank you so much for subscribing on YouTube. You're the best. I want to say this. So Lisa McClain is a pathological liar. Like, we just saw Joni Ernst being a pathological liar. Representative Lisa McClain, she's a pathological liar for Trump. And I never see her, she's pathological lying. Like, there's no lie I won't tell. She's like the first person to march out and be like, who needs me to lie about something? And she was visibly uncomfortable. They're like, what do you think about what Joni Ernst said? I think all Republicans are like, Joni Ernst is like poison right now. Get her. I don't want to be associated with her. I've never seen Lisa McClain not willing to back a lie in my life. And she's like, I don't know. Joni Ernst is kryptonite.
The changes to Medicaid will mean for people, right? And there was a town hall from Senator Republican Joni Ernst where some of that concern was expressed. She received some criticism as well after that town hall for her comments and then her ensuing apology. I want to play some of that.
People are not, we all are going to die.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
What did you think about a sitting U.S. Senator responding that way to her constituents' concerns?
Listen, I think she was trying to do a play on words, actually. Listen, the fear-mongering has got to stop, right? We are cutting.
By fear-mongering, you mean basic mathematics? Should we stop? You guys would appreciate if none of us could do math. That would be very convenient for the people that are voting to rob us all. Yeah. Hey, when I say fear-mongering, I mean the last few of American citizens who are capable of rational, logical thought and basic mathematics. You're really getting in our way of robbing everyone. That's what she meant. Like,
I think she was trying to do a play on words, actually. Listen, the fear-mongering has got to stop, right? We are not cutting Medicaid. We're actually trying to shore Medicaid up so it's there for the people that need it.
Tell that to the 13.7 absolutely not undocumented immigrants, American citizens who are losing their Medicaid. You're not cutting 13.7 million Americans Medicaid. We know that. They are not undocumented citizens. They are American citizens. I can't do it. They're shoring it up. And by the way, I just want to be clear. She's like, oh, she was doing a play on words. Let me give you an example of a play on words. Do you know that shoring is a play on words for cut? What the do you think shoring up means? Because I, a learned person who has an extensive vocabulary, understands that cutting Medicaid from 13.7 American citizens and shoring it up is the same goddamn thing. I just understand the definition of words. She's like, if I just use a word, fewer people will know what it means. Does that mean we're stealing? We're stealing from less people? No, it doesn't, because that's not how math works, Lisa.
At most. But these town halls have gotten a little bit out of hand with the fear-mongering and just, quite frankly, the flat-out lies. Let's have an open and honest
constituents. I mean, these
I'm
are
with you on
rural
the concern.
Americans who are expressing concern.
Well, there's a right way and a wrong way to express the concern. Do it in a respectful fashion, and let's have a.
I just love being gaslit by people's whose intelligence are so low. Just fascinating to be gaslit by people that can't find their way out of paper bags. You're tired? You're tired of being you're tired? Imagine for the rest of us who aren't insider trading all day long. Yeah, you're tired, Lisa? Yeah, I'd be exhausted too if my job was full-time bullshitter and liar. I do agree. It must be exhausting. It's hard to keep up with your lies when it's pathological. I don't know who made this video, but I did like it. I think it kind of was a good illustration.
Did you know we're all going to die? That's what Republican Senator Joni Ernst told constituents at a town hall when asked about cutting Medicaid, as if death is some kind of policy justification. The crowd was stunned. One woman asked how gutting healthcare could be considered compassionate, and Ernst shrugged it off like mortality is a budget line. But here's the thing. She's not the one worried about dying without care. Joni Ernst gets platinum-level taxpayer-funded health care, a $174,000 salary, cushy retirement benefits, and her travel. Covered. Meals during trips.
Hey, Lauren Boebert is getting a lifetime pension too. All the things you just heard, just know Margarine and Lauren Bobo get the same things. These people have not done shit but lie and obfuscate, and this is what they get. Yeah, I'd be doing the same thing if I was them.
Reimbursed. She even gets a deduction for having a second home in D.C. While millions of Americans struggle to afford insulin, she's cashing in frequent flyer miles from government-funded flights. So when a sitting senator tells struggling Iowans, well, we're all gonna die, while enjoying lifetime perks most of us could only dream of, that's not just out of touch, it's disgusting. If you're fed up with politicians who treat public service like a luxury cruise while telling us to sink, say
something. Yeah, I know. I don't know who made that, but I do like it. Like, I like use of AI voice. I don't know. Maybe I wish we were all robots. I think if AI ran the country, it'd be much fairer. Like, That's what I know. For if AI was running this country, it would probably be more fair than it is right now, because I've got to listen to Joni Ernst with her lifetime pension and insider trading and having affairs with people to like get military contracts that she cares about people. And then she's gaslighting me about the tooth fairy while telling me that Jesus Christ died on the cross for her sins. Like, something is wrong with this. Red alert! Something is wrong with these people. Donnie D'Amelia, what a cool name. Subscribe. Thank you. Uh-oh, sorry. I don't know what just happened to my microphone. Thank you for subscribing. Look, we're at 422. We only, oh God, I can't. What is it? 78. See, there, I can still do basic math. I'm still better than Republicans, even though I've been live. Just so you know, if I seem like I'm a little delusional, I've been live since 5 a.m. Pacific time with facts. So yeah. And I think it was Joss. He's like, you haven't taken a nap? No, because I didn't, I had to prepare this. This all was done in between. I didn't have this ready to go. So that's what I was doing. But this is my real passion, is screaming, is playing clips and screaming about them. This is our together time. I can't miss this. What would we do with ourselves if we didn't scream after listening to clips of Republicans gaslighting us?
In Iowa, Congresswoman Marionette Miller Meeks hosted an event for local supporters at the Rhythm City Casino earlier today, with Ohio Representative Jim Jordan by her side. After the event, she spoke to reporters about her vote in favor of the new federal budget. When asked about concerns over cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, she said the changes are about reducing waste, not benefits.
And they are not either for 80 hours a month at work, looking for a job in an educational program, or volunteering.
The 40% of babies who are born on Medicaid, they better get those jobs in the womb, 20 hours a week, babies. While you're cooking in the womb, all you have to do is work 20 hours a week. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do that before birth. We'll find out for you. Pregnant women, you better get to working. Better get to work in elderly and disabled people, because those are the people who are getting kicked off Medicaid. You can listen to the lies that, don't worry, it's able-bodied military-age men. It's just that anyone that can actually do math, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says that's not who it is, that it's mainly MAGA people in rural areas in red states that are poor. So we'll see. I mean, you're going to learn today, MAGA, or soon anyways. But don't worry, it's just 20 hours for your grandma that has stage 4 cancer. She's going to figure out a way to work. I'm sure she will.
And they are a person without disabilities, without raising dependent children. They aren't mentally ill. They aren't on a substance.
Is not true. And also, they definitely are mentally ill. Like, and I don't like the term mentally ill because I don't know what that means. But as someone who's experienced, like, I've been diagnosed with PTSD. I've been diagnosed with CPTSD. I've had extensive childhood trauma that some psychotherapists have likened to torture. And as a result, maybe my brain works a little bit differently than other people. If that makes me mentally ill, I'm still smarter than everyone in the Republican Party. So I guess someone's mentally ill. I don't know if it's me or not, but, whatever. But yeah, like, of course it's mentally ill people. People that are mentally ill don't qualify for Medicaid, and now they're pretending they do. Do you know how hard it is to get on Medicaid because of mental illness? It's really hard. Like, I've tried. Like, that's hard. Or to be declared disabled directly because of like mental ill and or chronic illness, it's almost impossible in this country. Like, you have to get a lawyer. So for her to just act like, oh, it's just mental, don't worry, no mentally ill. Who's not mentally ill in this country? Shorter list. Who does not have a mental illness as a result of being trapped in America from birth? I think that's a shorter list of people. Yes, and it does. I'm in Arizona, which is, for all intents and purposes, a red state, so it is harder here. Yeah, if there are people in blue, it's much easier. There are certain states that have different funds and treat mental illness as if they're, it's real. I just don't live in one of those places personally.
Abuse program. They're not raising a dependent adult. If they're not doing, some community engagement, they may lose coverage, but that's their choice to lose coverage.
When asked if she plans to run for re-election, Miller Meeks says she has not yet made a decision.
Get out. We don't want you, weirdo. Like, no, let us help you. We don't want you to run for a re-election. So you really don't have to worry about it, Marianne Miller Meeks or Meeks, whatever it is. Nobody who cares. Terry, can you do a tutorial on how to do your hair? Oh man, I cannot do hair at all. Like, some people know about my hair. Like, my dad's a Hispanic black man, so I have like really frizzy, messed up hair. This is what happens when I lose control of it. I literally just put my hair in long pigtails and then I wrap them up and like secure them with other ties. This is desperate last minute hairstyle. And it's actually giving me a migraine. I don't recommend. It does look adorable though. I am on fire. I think I actually do better when I'm delusional. Maybe I should always be delusional and giving up on this country because I do think this live's going really well in a weird way. It's going better. Like, you got to just give up and stop caring. Like, the days I care, I almost don't even want to talk. Now I'm just like, F it. I'm just going to say whatever comes to my head. Oh, I don't know if anyone heard about this. So yeah, we're going to get off the town hall hypocrisy train and just switch. I don't know if anyone heard that Trump is now, which is kind of like the most poetic irony of all time. Trump is now attacking Leonard Leo and the Federalist Society. Like, Trump says that he got all the conservative justices on the Supreme Court. No, a man named Leonard Leo did. Leonard Leo is responsible. He's the chair of the or he's either the vice chair or the chair, one or the other. Leonard Leo is responsible for Citizens United, for funneling dark money into conservative politics. Like, the largest dark money transfers have gone to him. I mean, I used to say he was the most terrifying person in the Conservative Party, but I actually think maybe it's Russ vote now. I don't know. But Trump has decided now to attack Leonard Leo and accuse him of being a traitor. Leonard Leo made Trump. They call, by the way, in conservative circles of dark money, they call Leonard Leo the kingmaker. Like, he is the puppet master behind the scenes, responsible for the consolidation of conservative power in this country. Thank you, JT, for subscribing for 12 months. You're the best. Appreciate it so much. Luhua, also, thank you for becoming a member of the Enemy Within. I have weird names on YouTube for subscribing because Trump says, we're all the enemy within. Thank you, Lahua. You're the best. And you have the most beautiful name. My favorite Hawaiian. I can't say that because someone's going to be like, what? Okay, so Trump is now attacking the person that is responsible for helping Trump consolidate power and take control of the Supreme Court. I mean, and I could say before Trump ever thought of running for president, like, Leonard Leo just needed a warm body, right? Like, he didn't care who it was. Leonard Leo has been creating like the stacking of the federal judiciary. All of this was Leonard Leo. This man, I hate to say it, he's an effing genius. He's the architect of the conservative takeover of the federal government. And he has been at this for decades. And you want to know who his best friend is? And I'm not saying this hypothetical. His actual best friend is Clarence Thomas. Leonard Leo was supposed to take over the Federalist Society and start all these dark master plans and funneling dark money, but he wouldn't do that until he personally helped Claire Bear study for the for his confirmation, to get out of his creepy claims of rape and other things by Anita Hill. Yeah, that was Leonard Leo. What is this? Sorry, Matt. Oh, it's Matt is putting out Substack articles now. Sorry, USMC Angry Veteran. I was like, is Matt emailing me? He never emails me. No, I guess Matt's putting out Substack articles. Sorry, it just popped up. But anyway, so now Trump is acting like Leonard Leo didn't make him and like couldn't break him. And is like, Leonard Leo's a traitor. Which I love watching Trump turn on all these people. It's fascinating.
Senator Whitehouse, what do you make of this brawl between Trump and Mr. Leo?
First of all, this whole thing is hysterical in every literal sense of that word. And as you pointed out, Leonard Leo is the billionaire's court fixer. That's been his role since Harriet Miers got knocked out for Sam Alito with Leonard Leo in the thick of all of that, all those years ago. The infamous painting of Clarence Thomas with his billionaire donor Harlan Crow. Also, at of course, Harlan Crow's huge estate in the Adirondacks. In the painting is also Leonard Leo. And for what it's worth, the guy who's now counsel to that creep Russell Vogt over at OMB, administering Trump MAGA destruction of government. But there's Leo. He's right in the picture. He's the guy who traveled on the plane with Alito on the fishing trip to Alaska where they had the $1,000 bottles of wine. So he's in the thick of this whole mess. And the fact that Trump is furious with him right now may have just to do with the fact that Leo-aligned groups brought the tariff suit and lined up against Trump on that.
And these are Republicans, I shouldn't say Republicans. I don't know if I would say conservatives who have their shareholders in huge corporations. And so Leonard Leo is now, I honestly, if it's Leonard Leo versus Trump, I bet on Leonard Leo all day, every day. So what they're saying is Leonard Leo is using the Federalist Society and bringing these suits. He's the one that got these small business owners, because that's what these lawsuits that pause Trump tariffs are. It's acting like, well, don't get me wrong, small business owners are being decimated. It's true. But he found the small business owners and he's the one he's using dark money to run Trump over. And Trump be found out and no likey. And the thing is it doesn't matter how you feel about Leonard Leo. That's like Trump's going to find out who really is God in the conservative party, and it's not him. I would never come for Leonard Leo. He will end you before you even see him coming.
But it also may signal a dawning realization by Donald Trump that he actually might not have truly chosen his Supreme Court appointees. That Leonard Leo and Don McGahn, his White House counsel, who are running that process and doing the selection, might actually have been really the agents of somebody completely else. And that Trump was the chump in the scheme who did not know he was being played by the wily Koch brothers and the billionaire interests behind Leonard Leo.
And that's the truth. Like, Leonard Leo's in 2016, just to give you an idea of what they're talking about, they had set up for decades. Like they said, it started with Alito and Bush 1 was president. Or was Alito Bush W? Whatever. One of those two. Anyways, but the point was decades in the making was taking over the Supreme Court. And this was Leonard Leo and the Koch brothers. One is no longer with us. May he rest in peace. But it was the Koch brothers. Thank you. I love these glasses. It was the Koch brothers money that started funding. And then it was Koch brothers money that got, Citizens United put into place. And then the dark money started flowing in straight to Leo. He controls, the coffers of conservative dark money are controlled. The largest dark money donation of all time was from a guy that died, a billionaire in Chicago named Barry Seed, and it went straight to Leonard Leo. Trump can believe he's in power, but in 2016, they're just we need a warm body who's running for the Republican Party. And you can look this up. Don't believe me, just look it up. Leonard Leo handed Trump a list of Supreme Court justices and basically said, you can choose from these. Trump didn't do, but Trump likes to tell the story. It was all me. It was all me. No, they needed someone with a pulse that was a Republican sitting there while their decades-long plan came to fruition. That's what happened. Leonard Leo is the puppet master of conservative politics. And I say that, I don't even like to say his name lest I feel like he's like Beetlejuice. If I say it too many times, he's going to know I know who he is and might, disappear me. That's how powerful that man is. And Trump's why do people think Leonard Leo has power? Yeah, you're a fool, Trump. You're just a pawn. Nobody actually respects you. Do I even want to say this? I don't even... Okay, I'm going to say it. Just maybe this will prove how dumb Trump is. Trump is Walls Trump is mad that people don't respect him and really respect Leonard Leo well, I don't know if I should say respect or are terrified of Leonard Leo and his power and his dark money. Trump spent the weekend literally reposting on Truth Social, not just his usual conspiracy theories, but his latest conspiracy theory that he's reposting is that Joe Biden was unalived or executed in 2020, and that there are clone doubles and robotic engineered mindless entities are what you see. Hashtag Democrats don't know the difference. This is what people are like, why don't people take me seriously? I don't know, Trump. I don't know. Can't figure it out. No clue. And Aaron Rupar posted, if Joe Biden posted something like this, I mean, think about it. Whilst I have to listen to Republicans be like, Joe Biden's brain doesn't work. If Joe Biden posted something like this, Hannity would be roused from his sleep to anchor special coverage. But Trump posts apeshit conspiracy theories and the mainstream press yawns. His craziness has been completely normalized. Amen. And this is why no one will ever respect you. You've never come up with a coherent plan in your life. And this guy, I like Alex Kaplan, but he was just showing that, like, this isn't new. Like, claims that Biden, which I always talk about this. The original claim is that, Obama was wearing Biden's skin suit. That went on for a long time. That's not a joke. That's really what MAGA thinks. If you think I just said that, no, that's a real thing on Facebook. Claims that Biden has been replaced by a clone have been a thing over the years in the QAnon community. One was that Biden was Obama in Biden's skin suit. This post Trump amplified was quoting a post from a QAnon group on Truth Social. It's all true. Like, it's not like Trump's just reposting QAnon things, but this is why no one takes you seriously. And even Fox, it's so crazy what Trump was up to and so senile and so disturbing that even Fox, Rupert Murdoch's like, what the F? And he's like, all right, run with it. And Ron Filikowski's like, wow, this one Fox actually covered, but let's see whether this gets any run on their network. Yeah, they put it on their news website. Trump shares post saying Biden was unalived and replaced with clones, and then he's like, why don't real conservatives respect me? Why are people giving Leonard Leo credit for the things I believe I've done? Because I don't know, he's smart and not believing that Biden is Obama in Biden's skin suit. Maybe that's why. I don't know. And this is the thing. While Trump's angry because no one respects him and is posting weird clone conspiracy, thank you. And is posting weird clone conspiracy theories that make no sense. This is what I was talking about with facts this morning. Because Trump refuses to read, even if they put like post-it notes in front of him, he won't read. They're trying to conscript like a Fox News anchor to put on a show to do like daily intelligence reports for Trump because he won't read a piece of paper. And they're like, what do we do? Like, he has no idea what's going on. He won't read. So they're trying to like get a Fox News anchor to like come in once, like put on a show and tell Trump the news because they don't know what else to do because he refuses to read. And he's like, why don't people respect me like Leonard Leo? I bet Leonard Leo can read pieces of paper. I think that's probably, the start of it. Oh, and let's get into taco because I do love all the taco comments. These are Ron Filikowski did this. It's the 13 best taco memes. And I thought by now we'd all be so frustrated. We'd want to see them. Again, taco is a trade, right? Trump always chickens out. It's a trade strategy on Wall Street, which is smart. There's a very clear pattern of Trump's BS. I honestly don't even think truly it's because Trump's a chicken. I think it's because the point is to drive the market down so people with capital can invest and then the market goes back up and they cash out. I think it's a very just clear pattern of transfers of wealth, but whatever. I like this one. You don't even have to shade his skin. He's the perfect color for a taco shell. Or this one, chicken a la king. MAGA. See, there's a MAGA crowd on it. That's a good one. Bold, brined, and braggadocious. Contains amounts of reality TV, golden decor, and campaign trail seasoning. 100% unverified claims. Microwaves in 20-24 seconds. Best served lukewarm on a golf cart. I like that one. That's probably my favorite one, honestly, because that one, someone worked on that one. El Tico Loco? That's a good one. I do like that. Uh-oh. Hold on, sorry. I love that I have all these forever. Taco Dumbbell. The tariffs are falling. The tariffs are falling. Chicken Little 47. They have Chicken Little, a person who spreads baseless or exaggerated reports of danger, alarmist, a person who constantly warns that a calamity is imminent, a vociferous pessimist. I love vocab. Don't hit me with vociferous. MAGA has no idea what that means, nor will they ever, but I appreciate vocab. Pardons, $1 million. It's a taco truck that says that on the side. Trump always chickens out. At least AI is doing something for us. Look at that double chin. That's mean. That's mean. I also love his eyes. Looks deranged. Taco plane. I mean, he should decorate his bride plane with that. That would be good. Taco Tuesday at the New York Stock Exchange. Trump always chickens out. And they all have chicken heads on. Grumpy Trumpy's taco tantrum. Oh, that's actually, that looks exactly like him. That's like a regular day in the White House. That's the most accurate one so far. Looks exactly like him. Oh, I love this one. His bathing suit are taco shells. I'm sorry, but I also think that, I mean, if only his body looked that good. His body does not look like that. I think we could be clear. If Trump's body looked like that, he would have no shirt on. It doesn't. Trump working inside of a taco truck. Trump always chickens out, and I don't know if that's real or not. Might not be, but they're probably, if that's in New York City, they're selling a lot of tacos at this one. But I think it's good to laugh. It's good to laugh at things. Oh yeah, and this is a great segue. I forgot about this. And Harry Enton, who does like data analysis and polling and things for CNN, he did this. He is failing. CNN data analyst Harry Enton spends 3 minutes showing what a failure Donald Trump has been as president. This was this morning, so this is relevant. This was like at 6:30 this morning, Pacific.
Yeah, Kate, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, so I know what losing feels like, and I will tell you that the courts have halted Trump's admin agenda a huge number of times. What are we talking about? We're talking about at least 181 times that they have at least temporarily, halted Trump's agenda. That is a huge number. To give you that in percentage terms, in over 50% of the cases that are presented to courts, the Trump administration agenda has been halted at least temporarily. So Donald Trump, tries to do these actions with his administration, but the courts have been saying, hold on, wait a minute here. Then they have said that at least 181 times so far in just the first few months of this administration.
Quite a number. On tariffs, some of the latest is this moniker that Wall Street we're learning that's being thrown around on Wall Street, which is TACO, an acronym for Trump always chickens out.
Yes.
You have numbers on that.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things, you hear these things going on, you say, okay, is this actually entering the mainstream culture? And we can see this right here in Google searches. The top term that was Googled with Donald Trump on Thursday was TACO. It was TACO. Indeed, get this, the terms Trump and taco Googled together up through the roof. Get this, 9,900% increase on Thursday versus Tuesday. So if you are wondering whether or not this Trump always chickens out and the acronym TACO actually has entered the mainstream, well, Google gives it away. It 100% has. And this to me is quite troubling for Donald Trump because obviously he trades on his name. He trades on the idea that he does what he says. And if all of a sudden you're associating Trump always chickens out with Donald Trump, well, that is no bueno.
So one of the things that you hear from the president and his allies is what's being blocked. What he's doing is exactly what he promised on the campaign trail, and exactly, he says, what Americans voted for and put him in the White House again to do. How do you relate? How does it relate, and what are you seeing in terms of how Americans feel about the president and campaign promises?
Right, exactly right. You know, if the injunctions are being put in by courts, if all of a sudden he's always chickening out when it comes to his, tariffs, then all of a sudden Donald Trump can't actually do what he promised to do. And that, of course, is Donald Trump's bread and butter. And, even before the TACO acronym came into effect, our CNN poll asked, good at keeping campaign promises. Look at this. Just 48% of Americans said that Donald Trump was good at keeping campaign promises. Joe Biden's number in April of 2021 was actually higher than that at 59%. Now, obviously, that Biden number would go down during his administration. But if you compare where Donald Trump is right now in his presidency to where Joe Biden was in his presidency, Donald Trump's trademark is keeping campaign promises, and less than 50% of Americans say he's doing a good job, and north of 50% of Americans saying he's doing a bad job on the thing that should be a hallmark for Donald Trump, and he is failing at that in the minds of the American public right now, Kate.
This is an interesting baseline to keep, as you said, his ended up obviously falling.
Weirdly, the only people gaslighting us and trying to convince us otherwise are weird pathological liars in Congress who are terrified to stand up to him because they have no spine. Like, I think most everyone knows that to be true, right? Like, we don't even have to wonder if that's true. And then I don't even know if I have the energy to play this, but yesterday, Mike Johnson is on Meet the Press, which Kristen Welker is on my last nerve, just being like, the Congressional Budget Office is lying. Listen, I wish math was a lie. I wish that math didn't show that we were all robbed by conservatives in order to give billionaires more. I wish that was the truth. Math just doesn't lie. It's not true. And it's sad when you have the Speaker of the House telling lie after lie after lie. What really are we supposed to do?
In 2017, actually, the CBO was pretty right when you adjusted for inflation. But let me read you something that you said back in 2021 about the CBO. This was in relation to a Democratic bill. You said the CBO has confirmed this bill adds nearly $400 billion to the deficit, contrary to the White House's claim that the bill is paid for. So do you only believe the CBO when a Democrat is president, Mr. Speaker?
No, this is very easy to explain. The CBO sometimes gets projections correct, but they're always off.
No, say the truth. When math is convenient for you, then it's math. When it's not convenient for you, it's not math. Like, I love it.
Every single time when they project economic growth, they always underestimate the growth that will be brought about by tax cuts and reductions.
I just want everyone to know because this bill is not about economic growth. We know, we have 45 years of trailing data that there's no trickle down, right? That when we give tax cuts to the rich, it's not going to lead to higher wages. It's not going to lead to more for the middle class. So he knows that. I don't know what the F he's talking about. This bill isn't about economic growth. This bill isn't about tariffs. I mean, other than just giving Trump blind power to tax us without representation, right? This isn't about economic growth. This is about stealing from the poor so that corporations and billionaires don't have to pay taxes. Same with the tariffs, right? Because this, like I said, no matter how much healthcare we steal from the elderly, from children, from pregnant, from whoever, it's not enough. We're still blowing out the deficit. We're still running up the debt. So even on top of that, every time we transact, tariffs are a regressive tax that disproportionately affect the middle and lower classes. And that is so people at the top of the economy don't have to pay taxes. And you gaslighting us and acting like our brains don't work doesn't change that.
Mr. Speaker, if the big, beautiful bill does add to the debt, will President Trump own that?
It's not going to add to the debt, but I can tell you that President Trump is laser focused on two primary things: delivering on his campaign promises and the America First agenda, which is what a record number of 77 million voters, popular votes, requested.
Did we raise the debt ceiling more than we've ever raised it in history? Mathematically, this bill is the largest bill. It adds to the debt more than any bill in U.S. history. What the F are you talking about? Can you imagine being this scared and having this little of a spine that you deny math? What did I do? Oh, God. I just got I have no idea. Okay. But anyways, can we get to 400K real quick? I think that is like I have no idea why I get. So why am I always in trouble? At least I made it like 2 hours without being in trouble from the initial like 4. I think I might really be in trouble that time. It said I'm going to be banned. I don't know. I don't want to be banned for a week. I think I've already been live for 4 hours earlier today. So my worst fear is I get banned for a week and then I can't see you guys. So I think let's get to 400K real quick. Mike Johnson is a pathological liar. I think we're all very clear on that. I just don't want to get banned because that is my 5th, whatever you call, I don't know what they are, restrictions or giant notice that popped up and told me that I'm in trouble. So thank you, cat. I've never seen that, Jed. Thank you for the space cat. I love it. Thank you guys so much for 400K. I'm scared I'm going to be banned. I texted Matt. He hasn't gotten back to me. If Matt's in town, and maybe you guys know better than me because I'm not in Matt's Discord. If Matt's doing a live tomorrow, then we'll be doing a live together. If not, I'll figure out another activity for us to do. But before I get banned for a week, I'm just going to end this live because that was the 5th violation. Wait. Am I doing it? I like the fire coming. I love those dragons. The whole administration is like, imagine how scared and being scared of a narcissist is pointless. Like such an insecure baby. It just goes to show you how sad these people are. Like, I'll say this. I don't like Senator Rand Paul, but I've never had more respect for that man or for Thomas Massie. Like, or, the few people who are just like, yeah. And actually, I'll show you guys tomorrow because Rand Paul did an interview yesterday and I was like, hey, there's one Republican in the Senate who's just like, yeah, the math's not mathing. All of this are lies. Like, yeah, there's one Senate. I don't like Rand Paul. I'll never like him. But man, at least he can do math correctly when it comes down to it. At least he's not bending over for Trump. So I'll show you guys that tomorrow. But again, I don't want to get banned because that was the scariest. Well, that was the scare. I feel like that was like final warning. Shut up. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll let you guys know in the Discord like what I'll be doing. And if Matt's out of town, I won't be doing live. But otherwise, plan 8 whatever time Matt does lives. 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And if he's not around, I'll figure out something else and I'll let you guys know in the Discord.